Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we will dive into the absolutely insane Wednesday, April 22 episode where Electra finally spills the truth to Will RJ, plays mind games with Dylan, and Ivy completely overplays her hand with a very annoyed Ridge Forrester. I am literally typing this up at 2 in the morning because I just finished watching the latest episode and my brain is absolutely buzzing with rage, excitement, and pure frustration. I cannot sleep. I need to get this out of my system right now before I explode. Because the level of manipulation, hypocrisy, and sheer delusion happening at Forrester Creations right now is off the charts. I have been watching this show religiously since 2015 and I have seen some wild storylines. But the way these characters are behaving right now is making me want to scream at my television screen. Am I the only one who feels like they are taking crazy pills watching RJ and Ivy operate? Because it honestly feels like we are watching two villains in the making. And I am both here for the drama and completely disgusted by their actions. Let's just jump right into the biggest moment of the episode because I cannot hold it in any longer. Electra finally told her the truth. Yes, finally. After weeks of us having to sit through this agonizing, drawn-out miscommunication trope where nobody knows how to use a smartphone or ask a direct question, Electra actually used her words. She spilled everything to Will Spencer. And let me tell you, the look on his face was everything I needed and more. I mean, we have been waiting for this exact conversation ever since Daphne Rose finally grew a backbone and told Electra what Ivy had been doing behind her back. And when Electra stood there and explained that she actually left him a physical letter asking him to meet her in the Forrester Creations showroom, you could see the exact moment Will's heart just broke all over again, but this time for a completely different reason. He had no idea. He never saw it. Because her own flesh and blood, her trusted Aunt Ivy, intercepted it like some sort of comic book villain. I can't even begin to imagine the absolute whiplash Will must be feeling right now. For weeks, this guy has been walking around thinking the girl he loves just completely soured on him out of nowhere. He assumed, and honestly, we all assumed he thought this, that Electra's sudden coldness had everything to do with Melissa Dillon. Will genuinely believed that his decision to let Dylan move back in with him at the beach house was the ultimate deal breaker. And sure, obviously that was a massive part of it. Electra was not happy about the Dylan situation, and she had every right to be annoyed by that living arrangement. But it certainly wasn't the only reason she dumped him, and it definitely wasn't the reason she turned so cold and distant so fast. It was the letter. It was the WE necklace being tossed aside. It was the feeling of total abandonment that Ivy carefully orchestrated. But here is the part that really got my blood boiling, and it's what Electra told him next. She didn't just tell Will about the stolen letter. She let him know that Ivy has absolutely zero regrets about breaking them up. None. Zilch. Electra looked Will in the eye and told him that her aunt happily admitted she would do it all over again. I am sorry, but what? What kind of sociopathic behavior is this? I have been a fan of Ashley Brewer for years, and I was so excited when she returned from her 8-year hiatus, but what the writers have done to Ivy Forrester is nothing short of character assassination. She is acting unhinged. Will is going to be absolutely furious, and he should be. I want to see Will unleash the full Spencer wrath on Ivy. I want him to go full dollar bill on her, because what she did wasn't just meddling. It was psychological warfare against her own niece, just because she has some weird elitist obsession with keeping Electra paired up with a Forrester. Which, by the way, is hilarious considering RJ is technically a Maroney, but we will get to that later. So now Will knows the truth. He knows why Electra pushed him away. He knows he wasn't crazy for thinking they had a real connection. But then Electra does the thing we all knew she was going to do. She apologizes and asks him to take her back. And guys, I am so torn on this. Half of me is screaming, yes, get back together. Prove Ivy wrong. But the other half of me is like, wait a minute. Should he take her back so easily? Because let's be real for a second. Yes, Ivy manipulated the situation. Yes, Ivy stole the letter and made it look like Will threw away the necklace. But Electra also didn't trust Will enough to just ask him about it. She immediately jumped into RJ's arms. She has been kissing RJ, letting RJ romance her, and basically moving on while Will was left in the dark. If I were Will, I would be incredibly hesitant. I would be looking at Electra and thinking, if your aunt can manipulate you this easily, and if you can run to another guy this quickly, how strong is our relationship really? I know some people are loving the idea of an immediate reunion, but personally, I want Will to make her work for it. I want him to say I love you, but you didn't trust me. Wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk about the other massive part of this episode that had me throwing my popcorn at the TV. Can we please talk about RJ Forrester and his little advice session with Melissa Dillon? Because wow, just wow. The manipulation tactics this kid is employing are actually scary. RJ is officially in his villain era, and I don't think he even realizes it. So we have this spoiler video showing RJ chatting with Dillon in the design office. Dillon is standing there, looking all pathetic and guilty, playing the ultimate martyr. She tells RJ that she never meant to come between Electra and Will. She's doing that whole, woe is me, I'm just a sweet girl who accidentally ruined a relationship routine. And listen, I have my own theories about Dillon. With that creepy phone call she got about unfinished business, I don't trust her as far as I can throw her. But in this specific moment, she is genuinely feeling guilty for being the wedge that drove Will and Electra apart. And how does RJ respond? Does he act like a normal, empathetic human being? No. He looks at her and says, I don't blame you as much as I blame Will. He was supposedly in a committed relationship. I am screaming. The absolute audacity of RJ Forrester. He is completely flipping the script to make Will the bad guy, totally absolving Dillon of any responsibility just to keep his own agenda moving forward. RJ doesn't care about Dillon's feelings. He doesn't care about who is actually to blame. All RJ cares about is keeping Will as far away from Electra as humanly possible. By telling Dillon that it's Will's fault, he is validating her presence in Will's life. He is basically giving her a free pass to keep hovering around Will without feeling guilty. But it gets worse. Dillon, who is apparently completely naive to how soap opera men operate, says that now that she has moved out of the beach house and is gone, Will and Electra will probably work things out. She is basically conceding defeat. She is stepping aside. And RJ cannot have that. RJ absolutely panics internally at the thought of Will and Electra working things out. So what does this manipulative little brat do? He looks at Dillon and tells her that he has a feeling, despite how guilty she feels about coming between them, she actually wants Electra out of his life too. He is projecting his own desires onto her. He is telling her what she wants. And then the absolute kicker, he urges her not to give up on Will. I had to pause the episode and just take a deep breath because I was so mad. RJ is actively encouraging Dillon to pursue a man who's currently trying to get his ex-girlfriend back. Purely so, RJ can swoop in and steal the ex-girlfriend. It is so calculated. It is so slimy. And the worst part is, he is doing it under the guise of being a supportive friend to Dillon. He is using her as a pawn on his little chessboard. Remember when RJ first came back to town and he was just this annoying influencer kid who didn't want to design clothes? I miss those days. I miss when his biggest flaw was just being boring. Now he is actively destroying lives because he feels entitled to Electra. And let's bring up the Marone thing again because Will absolutely nailed it in their last fight. RJ walks around with this massive Forrester superiority complex, acting like Will is some sleazy Spencer, when RJ's own grandfather is Massimo Maroni. The hypocrisy is baked into his DNA at this point. So how will Dillon respond to RJ's push? Honestly, I think she is going to take the bait. Dillon has this weird pick-me energy where she pretends to be the cool, understanding friend, but she clearly has deep feelings for Will. If RJ is giving her the green light and telling her that Will is the one at fault, it's going to alleviate her guilt. She is going to convince herself that she is actually the better option for Will. She is going to think, well, Electra dumped him and RJ thinks I shouldn't give up, so maybe I am meant to be with Will. It is a disaster waiting to happen, and I am going to be watching through my fingers. Okay, back to the point. Let's shift gears and talk about the third absolute train wreck of this episode, Ivy Forrester and Ridge. I cannot even begin to comprehend the level of delusion Ivy is operating under right now. Her entire scheme has literally just blown up in her face. Electra knows everything. Daphne exposed her. Will knows everything. Electra is currently demanding that Steffi and Ridge fire her from Forrester Creations. Ivy's back is entirely against the wall. And what does she do? Does she lay low? Does she apologize? Does she try to do damage control? Nope. She marches right up to Ridge Forrester and casually promotes the relationship between her niece and his son. She literally tells Ridge that Electra is perfect for RJ. I mean, the sheer brass balls on this woman. She is currently the center of a massive HR nightmare. She has caused a physical shoving match in the CEO office between RJ and Will. She has alienated her own niece. And she thinks this is the right time to play matchmaker with the boss's son. Ivy is completely detached from reality at this point. It's like she believes that if she can just get Ridge to endorse the RJ and Electra pairing, all of her sins will be washed away. She thinks that because she's pushing a Forrester-centric agenda, Ridge will overlook the fact that she's a toxic, manipulative liability to the company. But Ridge's reaction is what really had me rolling my eyes into the back of my head. As viewers know, Ridge is not happy with all the personal drama that has been going on at the office. He has been giving these ridiculous stern lectures to RJ about how Forrester Creations is a fashion house, not a boxing ring, and how people need to keep their personal feelings out of the workplace. Are you kidding me, Ridge? Are you actually kidding me? Ridge Forrester complaining about personal drama in the office is the most hypocritical, tone-deaf, laughable thing this show has ever produced. This is the man who has literally married, divorced, cheated on, and romanced half the women in that building. His entire life is office drama. The Forrester CEO office has seen more romantic betrayals, slaps, screaming matches, and inappropriate hookups than any other room in Los Angeles. And suddenly Ridge is the HR police. Suddenly he is annoyed by personal drama. Give me a break. So will Ridge tell Ivy he doesn't want to discuss it? Absolutely. He is going to be incredibly annoyed. He is already stressed out about Sheila Carter roaming free. He is fuming about Katie and Bill using Eric's designs for the Logan fashion line, and he is sick of RJ and Will fighting. The last thing he wants is Ivy coming in and trying to scheme with him. But here is my question. Will Ridge actually do anything about it? Electra wants Ivy fired. Steffi is probably going to agree because Steffi hates liabilities. But will Ridge pull the trigger? I honestly don't know. Ridge has a massive blind spot for his family, and even though Ivy's an extended family member, she still has the Forrester name. But with the rumors flying around that Ashley Brewer is going on maternity leave, and that Ivy might be checking into a mental health facility, I think this conversation with Ridge is the beginning of the end for her. Ridge is going to see just how unhinged and obsessed she has become. When she stands there, completely unbothered by the destruction she has caused and only cares about pushing Electra and RJ together, Ridge is going to realize that Ivy needs serious help. I just can't get over how messy everyone is right now. There is not a single person in this storyline who has clean hands, except maybe Will, and even he has been acting like a volatile hothead lately. Let's look at the big picture here. We have Electra, who was so easily manipulated that she threw away a great guy without even having a conversation with him. We have Will, who was so stubborn about keeping his new female roommate that he completely invalidated his girlfriend's feelings. We have RJ, who is using his privilege and manipulation tactics to steal a girl and gaslight another into doing his dirty work. We have Dylan, who is playing the victim while secretly hoping to benefit from the fallout. And we have Ivy, who has gone full supervillain because she thinks she knows what is best for everyone else. It is a glorious, toxic, beautiful soap opera mess, and I am eating up every single second of it. But seriously, where do we go from here? If Electra is begging Will to take her back, and Will knows the truth about the letter, the logical step is that they reunite. But this is B, and logic does not exist in this dojo. If they reunite, RJ is going to lose his absolute mind. We already saw him get into a physical altercation with Will. If Will walks into the office holding Electra's hand, RJ might actually try to kill him. And with Ridge already warning RJ to keep his emotions in check, a reunion between Will and Electra could cost RJ his standing at the company. And what about Dylan's mysterious phone call? We cannot forget that while all this romantic musical chairs is happening, Dylan is dealing with some unfinished business from a disguised caller. If RJ successfully convinces Dylan to go after Will, and then Dylan's dangerous past comes knocking, Will is going to be dragged right into the middle of it. I am telling you, this Remy Price theory is looking more and more likely. If Remy is Dylan's relative and brings danger to Los Angeles, Will's protective instincts are going to kick in, and that is going to drive Electra crazy all over again. I know some people are loving this RJ and Electra pairing. I see the comments. I know there are fans who think RJ is sweet and attentive and that Will is too aggressive, but personally, I cannot stand RJ right now. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing. He acts like the sensitive, supportive guy, but he is incredibly toxic. The way he just casually manipulated Dylan in the design office proves it. He doesn't respect Electra's agency. He doesn't care that she was tricked. He only cares about winning. He views Will as a rival to be defeated, not as a human being who is deeply hurt by a cruel scheme. And Ivy. Oh, Ivy. I am so sad to see her character go down this path. I remember when she was the quirky, fun Australian girl who was a breath of fresh air. Now she is acting like Stephanie Forrester on her worst day, but without any of the earned respect or gravitas. She is just a meddling aunt who has completely lost the plot. When she told Electra she would do it all over again, that was the moment she became irredeemable in my eyes. You don't do that to someone you love. You just don't. So to wrap up this massive Late Night Rant Wednesdays episode is a massive turning point. The secrets are out. The battle lines are drawn. Electra wants Will back. RJ wants Dylan to keep Will distracted. Ivy is trying to manipulate Ridge. And Ridge is just trying to pretend he's a professional CEO while his entire company burns to the ground around him. I am going to need an extra large coffee tomorrow morning because I am going to be thinking about this episode all day. Will Spencer better not make this easy for Electra. RJ Forrester better get what is coming to him. And Ivy Forrester needs to pack her bags and get some serious therapy. What did you guys think of the episode? Am I being too hard on RJ? Does Electra deserve to get Will back right away? And please tell me someone else laughed out loud when Ridge complained about office drama. Let me know all your thoughts, and I will see you in the next one.